Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the Operational Services Committee meeting. On this committee, we have Councillor Thiessen, Councillor O'Toole, Mayor Clayton, and myself, Wendy Bosch. So we'll call the meeting to order. We do not have any delegations, so right now we'll go into reports, and we'll have Chief Glavin give us the service area update. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. We'll start in engineering services with a brief stormwater utility update. We're currently working with our potential billing partner to draft an agreement for service. And as well, we're targeting a April committee for a report on billing recommendations and the utility bylaw associated with the stormwater system. Other projects in engineering, we have posted tender for phase 2 of our road rehabilitation program, which would cover 84th Avenue in the westbound lanes from 108th Street to 116th Street, as well as tender for phase 1 of the sidewalk rehabilitation program that covers 4 sites throughout the city. We've also tendered the South Bear Creek ball diamond lighting replacement, which will be for the 2 diamonds that currently have lighting, that the lighting on those diamonds is obsolete, and as well was flagged by the user groups as having some issues. We've also posted the tender for a trail program that includes 2 rehab sites in Gateway and Highland Park, and 1 new connection of 108th Street and 116th Avenue intersection to Masquite Bridge. We've also closed tenders for our local road rehabilitation with a number of sites around the city, and as well are in the process of closing the RFP for storm drainage and slope rehabilitation. That includes repairs of a number of manholes, storm pipes in 7 different neighborhoods around the city, as well as looking into some drainage issues in the Brochu Industrial Park and repair of 3 other areas along Bear Creek Corridor. An additional project that isn't going to occur till 2024, but we are doing an open house for along a section of road on 96th Street from 100th Avenue that has a service road. The service road is an older standard that we no longer build in areas, so we're contemplating the removal of it and are inviting the residents to attend an open house that would be affected by the change to work through some of the options. That'll be led by Bearstone Associates Engineering, who's in charge of that project. We will be hand delivering invitations to the residents affected tomorrow, and it is going to take place March 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Faith Lutheran Church, and if necessary, we'll hold a second open house. Moving on to facilities. Leisure Center demolition, they're having their project kickoff meeting today. The government of Alberta did award that tender. In working up to the demolition, we are selling surplus equipment on GovDeals, and that's being managed by procurement. In fleet, we are almost ready for spring here with our street sweeper overhauls. And any other necessary equipment that we have for that in anticipation of the warmer weather coming. And in transportation, we've completed our priority 1 blading. The snow accumulations are still below the trigger levels for priority 2 and residential, so we were not triggering those services at this time. We continue to haul snow from storage and are addressing any of the known drainage issues around the city as we are preparing for the warmer weather that's in the forecast. And we will be doing downtown snow removal tonight. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Hopefully, within the next week, we can not worry about snow. I'm hopeful. First on is... for questions is Dylan, or Councillor Bressy, and then Mayor Clayton, and then Mr. Thiessen.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Council has heard from a resident with concerns about coyotes in Mission Heights, and I know personally I've noticed them for the first time out in our parks during the day, and I've been hearing them more at night. I'm wondering if there's been other complaints that administration's heard about coyotes, and just if that's something that's on administration's radar.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. To my knowledge, we've only had the 1 direct complaint that we received last week, and there was an attack on a dog. Coyotes are Alberta Fish and Wildlife's jurisdiction, so we have worked with them on this. They have met with the resident. They've posted signs in the area in order to make people aware that there were coyotes present. Communications is also conducting a campaign this week to further educate residents. They're making materials available at the home show as well. So it's something that happens from time to time in the city where we do have coyotes present, but this is the only complaint that's made its way to me. I'd have to check with our contact center to find out if there are anything additional.
Excellent. Thank you.
We just had a recent issue with a little moose too in Muskosipi. So, wildlife are in and about to come around from time to time. So, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Bosch. Two things for Mr. Glavin, if I could. First one, on the wildlife subject. I understand there was a communication campaign going on in regards to rabbits in the Swan-Haven area. Just to remind people that, they're not to feed rabbits, they're not to provide housing for rabbits. I wondered if there had been much communication back from the residents, if we heard anything. And also I'm wondering if there's, other than the initial sort of engagement and informing of the residents, if there's another step. I'm hearing more and more about the concerns of rabbits in Swan-Haven, and albeit they are super cute to look at. We're having a coyote experience in Mission. We're probably going to expect to see a coyote experience in Swan-Haven looking for rabbits to eat. So I'm curious, what does our communication plan look like going forward on that?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. So in response to the initial complaints we had on rabbits, we did suit some direct communication with residents and had identified a person who was feeding the rabbits and did have a bylaw officer attend their residence to advise them of the noise and nuisance bylaw, which specifically prohibits the feeding of wildlife. In addition to that, we had posted a number of signs on the trail network and in the area that advise people of it being an offense to feed wildlife in the area. Parks has been monitoring as well on looking to see for evidence of what the population of rabbits is. It's challenging to get a firm measurement of what it looks like right now, but we are aware. We have made contingency plans if necessary to help control that population. We haven't enacted those at this time, but we're certainly aware of it. And I know Comms has had activity on advising residents, and I can circle back with them. And if we need a more fulsome report, we can provide that back to committee.
Great, thanks. And if I can, Chair Bosch?
Go ahead.
My second question, Mr. Glavin, can you give me an update, remind me the status of the work that's being done in the spillway? What's still left to do and when will that start?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. Yeah, there is additional work that was supposed to be completed last construction season that they did not have completed before things froze up for the winter. I can provide a specific list of tasks. I don't have that off the top of my head right now, but it's something I can provide to committee with that and as well as approximate timelines for them to be completed.
Yeah, I think an email to council would be great. I'm just curious how much work is left and when it's expected to be completed. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Chair Bosch. Thank you very much, Chief Glavin, for your report and your answers. I just had a question I could have asked Mr. Harvard earlier, just in regards to transit terminals. But the question is how often do we salt, gravel, or sand our transit terminal spaces? Now, this could be in general. If you don't have the answer for that, that's fine. But I'm looking more specifically around Town Centre Mall, where we have a high volume of I guess, patrons using the transit service. Yesterday, I received a phone call from a special, a special human, and she had slipped and fallen, and it was quite embarrassing for her, and it was just an accumulation of ice. How often do we salt that? Is that our role in transportation, or is it part of the transit's role to communicate that to your department?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. So we do maintain those as per the snow and ice policy, and then as needed. So if it's reported to us that there are conditions that need to be mitigated, then we would go out and do that. But other than that, we do it as per policy. I believe 606, the snow and ice control policy.
So it's like priority 2 for like the big transit, I would imagine, like the town center mall?
I would have to give you the exact terms within the policy, which I could get and either now or I could send that out after.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not looking to make work for you. I could look that up too. It was just a question that came up yesterday, and then when I went by, there was really just a small piece of ice, and with this snow accumulation, like obviously missed by our pedestrian and transit user. So yeah, I can look that up, but I was just looking to respond back to her as quickly as possible. So I can look it up if it's there.
Sure, and Chair Bosch, if I may, I strongly encourage everyone to either call in any unsafe conditions to 311 or report them online. We can respond to them quite quickly as soon as they're reported. Any of the reports that come in to the contact center then get routed to the supervisor responsible for actually doing the work, and they're able to dispatch crews quite quickly. So again, strongly encourage everybody to use those systems so that we can mitigate those conditions quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. The reason I'm asking this question is I want to say special needs, so I'll just say as a special needs person. So their issue is they know me, so they called me, and then I couldn't give them a direct answer on how often we salt them. I did tell her to call 311, but I don't know if she felt comfortable doing that. But I can get back to her with that, and I appreciate your answers. Thank you.
Perfect. So much. Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. And agreed, 311 is the way to go. Next, we have Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. So, Chief Glavin, you'd mentioned the 96th Street access roads. Are we looking at that entire stretch from 100th to 116th, or is it north of 108th or south of 108th? I'm just curious how big of a stretch we're actually looking at.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. The residents subject to with the service road that we're looking at potentially removing is from 100th Avenue to 108th Avenue.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Berg. Councillor Blackmore.
Yes, Mr. Glavin, when you send us an email about the spillway, can you also include an update on the construction remediation that's taking place on the trail by 68th Avenue? That would be great. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you, Councillor Blackmore. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you. And just back to the transit stops, I'm just curious. I think the drivers could be a great source of identifying where the most ice is, and that would be a more proactive. Is there a policy or a procedure that the drivers can report that there is an icy transit stop?
I could take that one. Thank you, Madam Chair. So yes, our drivers are in contact with their clients, their riders all the time, and they do hear if there's an issue, and they have a process to report that.
Thank you, Chief Lemieux. Is there anybody else with questions? No? I guess I have a question in regards to the stormwater billing options. Do we have idea of what these options might be currently, or we're still looking into that?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. At a high level, there's essentially 3 options. There's an external option that we're pursuing right now with the billing provider. There's potential for an internal option, and then there could be a hybrid of both, depending on the situation. But right now, we are working with an external provider and pursuing that route. But we will come back with recommendations to committee, and we're targeting April.
Okay, thank you. My other question was all these tenders that are coming in for 84th Ave and the trails and such, what's kind of the timeline for that? 3 months? 2 months? That they'll be in by?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. Are you referring to when the work will take place? Or
no, like you have a lot of tenders out at the moment. And are they typically 1 month or 2 months? How long is that process? I just can't remember.
It depends on the complexity of the tender, how long that we allow proponents to respond. My guess, based on these ones, it's probably 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the complexity on these specific ones.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And that's it for questions. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Glavin, for your report. Don't see anybody else. Correspondence, we don't have any other business, bylaws and policy reviews, so we'll go right into the outstanding items list. Please, Mr. Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. Item 1230, which is anticipated in Q1, should be on the agenda for next committee. And other than that, everything is on track. We may also have one administrative addition for next committee, which would be with regard to the covered outdoor space that's in the budget on a location.
Perfect. Happy to hear about that. And we have Councillor Kevin, you want to go with that? Okay.
I move that we approve the outstanding items list as amended.
I think we have as presented because you haven't brought it up yet in regards to the covered shelters, correct? So as presented, if that's okay with you.
Well, it's not on.
Thank you, Councillor O'Toole, and we'll put that to a vote. Mayor Clayton? Oh, we lost her. Okay, we'll just put you up. Oh, are you there? That's okay. We'll put you as absent on that one. We have a full approval on the outstanding items list. So I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.